Thank you so much to those of you who have given feedback and taken the time to comment on my previous video. One thing that was brought to my attention is that when I speak about bullying, that it may be more directed toward relational prejudice and racism versus systemic racism. Greed, fear, these are the same things that we are reactive and responsive to right now in the current climate. There's a great video that explains systemic racism, and I'll share a link at the bottom of this video. What I'm referring to is more relational prejudices and subconscious bias. We all have the ability to create change within ourselves, within our communities, and hopefully make an impact on the rest of the world. Another point that was brought up was the difference between equality and equity. And this was a point that really resonated with me because as a feminist, I've never really wanted equality. I like being a woman. I like my doors being opened for me. I like being treated like a lady. But what I want is equity, equitable access. Access to healthcare, access to education, access to home loans and business loans so that we can level the playing field. We don't want equal shares, we want fair shares. We can choose to stand up when we see injustices happening in front of us. We can choose to look at ourselves and understand why we do the things that we do. We go out and protest, we fight for what we believe in, but why? Do we actually stop and take a moment and make a conscious decision about how our actions are impacting this movement? The human brain is a fascinating place. When we see these stimulating images and videos on TV and social media, take a moment to understand how you respond to these situations and then make a decision about how you can help. If donating money to a cause is the best way for you to make an impact, awesome, do that. If having a conversation with your own community is a way that you can be impactful, wonderful. If you have a platform that you can share and have someone else's voice be heard, do that. But take the time before you act and really have a conscious thought about why it is that you're doing what you're doing. Are you operating out of a place of fear? Are you just going along for the ride because it feels good to be a part of something? Or are you actually choosing to do an action that makes an impact based on what you can contribute? We don't have to wait for our leadership or our government in order to create change. We don't have to wait for laws to be passed or for police reform to start making changes today. We can start on an individual basis by looking at our own subconscious bias, by consciously making choices to engage in this movement in a way that is the most impactful. We can start learning tools like authentic relating and consent culture and teaching our children so that as our society grows and evolves, we will make an impact on systemic racism. It won't be an option any longer.